Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. And reviewing film that on a family film that came out not long ago, about 5 years ago, 2012. And this one I was back when I was in early 2011 when I saw the trailer for it, and I would say it's a good family film that are heartwarming, and it says inspired by a true story, and has very good decent cast, and it's basically a film about saving the whales, and that is the film that is Big Miracle. Now, Big Miracle, it was released in 2012, early 2012, I would say, and it got critical praise. It got critical praise. It has like a 74% Rotten Tomatoes. There's a 6.5 IMDb. Pretty decent rating for this film. Despite the praise it got, though, it didn't perform well, sadly. Cost about $40 million, and then worldwide it made about $24 million. So it barely made just about half of what the budget was, sadly. So sadly was a flop. But it's still a good warm film to watch, because it's about in 1988 there was the time when in Barrow, Alaska, that there were three gray whales that were trapped there. The parents and an infant. It was called Operation Breakthrough, and it was also based on a book called Freeing the Whales. And for one more that the cast did fine. He starring again Drew Barrymore, John Krasinski, which I just recently did on my trailer act, that he starred and directed the upcoming horror film A Quiet Place, along with his wife Emily Blunt. Right there. Also, you got Kristen Bell, Dermot Mulroney, Tim Blake Nelson, Vinessa Shaw, and Ted Danson. And it's directed by Ken Kwapis. This guy, he's directed some movies. Like he directed a film. Well, the last film he did was in 2015, which was A Walk in the Woods with Robert Redford, Nick Nolte. But the ones after that, he directed. He's just not that into you. Then License to Wed with Ron Williams. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. And then 1985, he directed, which I reviewed a while back, Follow That Bird, which was the Sesame Street's movie, Follow That Bird, which I enjoy that film, being a fan of Sesame Street growing up. I've already reviewed it, so you can check that out. But this guy, he did a good job directing the film. How the environment of it. I think they shoot in Alaska. Wherever it was, it's supposed to be like very cold and all that. Well, of course, as Alaska should be, it's being cold. But I enjoy the settings of it. And as the film about, as the parent says, it's in October 1988, and John Krasinski plays Adam. He's a reporter. And he's friends with this kid named Nathaniel, who his grandfather, part of this the old Eskimos up there in Alaska, which they hunt the whales, of course. And one day while out there he's filming, then he sees up in the distance something out there, and which comes a hole in the ice, which has three gray whales. A parent, a female, and a male, and then a baby. And then when released another, this whole thing about it just spreads all over the news, and everybody's trying to do the best to save the whales because fast, and outside where they're supposed to escape to is like this big huge wall of ice. So everybody's doing what they can to keep these whales alive. You know, they have nowhere to go, so all they do is just keep on surfacing up and up. You know, trying to stay alive to breathe, or else they'll drown. And then Drew Barrymore, she plays Rachel, which I think that's not the real person's name though in real life, but she's a Greenpeace, you know, environmentalist basically. And then she knew that John Krasinski's character, because they broke up some time ago, so she comes in to help because she's so keen on, you know, saving animals or whatever, environmentalists and all stuff like that. And because she starts this protest of where where Ted Danson, he's this guy named McGraw. He's like this for the drilling stuff, you know, oil drilling. He was involved with, and then later when he gets whipped about where the drilling, where his wife speaking with his wife, you know, where the stuff where he's drilling up in Alaska, and imagine all the voices you can get by help him saving the whales. So he changes his mind, so he goes and helps save the whales, which he does. He feels deeply about saving the whales as well. And another funny word, you have an appearance by Stephen Root, who I mentioned before. Like previously, he was in starring Get Out, and he was in Dodgeball, and of course, voicing Tripping the Rift. Breaks through the ice. He says I think first he says no, but then on the television, where he says he's gonna help, he's like, "I hate that woman," and then, so, so it's nice to see Stephen Root in there. Then he cuts to like Vinessa Shaw, who plays a woman named Kelly who works at the White House. Dermot Mulroney, who plays a guy in the army, a colonel, and he has to help, you know, get some helicopters to drag this barge through the ice to help break through the ice on the ice wall at Barrow. And Nathaniel and his grandpa Malik, whereas there are parts that at one point they're testing, or Drew Barrymore is testing that the Eskimo captains, you know, the permit, you know, to hunt and kill whales, but Malik sets them straight, you know, convinces his people to save the whales. And next thing you see him out there, he's doing a little, you know, spiritual chanting, and starts trying to make the hole where they're at a lot bigger. And then they named the whales, like, you know, Fred's a boy, so that's why they named Bam Bam instead of Pebbles. And then and everybody starts coming in, but there's one part where the ice just starts freezing over because the temperature's getting so down and downer. And then you get these two guys in Minnesota that they have these de-icers to make, make ice melt faster. One is played by comedic actor Rob Riggle. He's been lots of comedy films, so he's not a full-on straight comedic guy, but he still has some funny moments with the guy. So they get heard about this. Well, the newspaper tells it works. And then what leads to another is that they cut further. It's like where the hole they're at, and well, before that, Drew Barrymore, she goes in the water because she knows they see that something's wrong with Bam Bam, and she goes to the point where she goes in the water. She sees that Bam Bam, his tail fin, has a net on it. So she cuts that off, and then to the part where everybody is. They start to cut holes to keep breathing to all the way to the ice ridge. They get where they hear that that barge is stuck in the ice, but there's another ship that's close by, and it's a Russian ship. So they agreed to help save the whales. So they're going to use their ship to break through the ice. And as they're cutting holes in the ice, they notice that the parents, they're breathing, but sadly Bam Bam never surfaced, and Bam Bam has died, sadly. And it is kind of a heartbreaking scene, seeing about the baby whale dying. I think that's what happened. That's what happened in real life. That the infant did not survive because his injuries were too severe. And it's like the grandfather Eskimo Nathaniel's breaks, like, they were the parents, mom and dad, were just protecting him, and they couldn't hold on to him any longer. He's gone. Bam Bam is dead. And Drew Barrymore, she breaks down crying, But Jim Krasinski says, there's nothing you could do. It's not your fault. There's nothing any of us could do to help save Bam Bam. And the grandfather, doing his spiritual singing, chanting, and everyone is sad that Bam Bam died. But the parents, they eventually move on. They start falling all the holes up to the ice bridge until the Russian ship comes in. They start charging at it the first time. It doesn't break. They go again, charge at it. Doesn't break again. But the whales are getting frightened though. But because all the previous ice holes they made are frozen up, so they're trying to get up there to breathe, but they're hitting the ice because it's frozen over. But the Russians, they pull one last third attempt, full speed, with more power, and they eventually do break through the ice. Breaks the wall, creates a hole, and the gray whales, they are freed. And everyone's all cheers and all that. And they see him go off, and everyone's happy. Then they have the kid. I think it said Nathaniel. I think it was Nathan. My bad. He was narrating it. He was narrating at the beginning, and then he's narrating more at the end about what happens to these characters. It shows like that. Dermot, Mulroney, and Vinessa Shaw, they get married. Then Ted Danson, he has like this new has a new thing going on where he's gonna clean up what happened on the oil spill that happened on the Exxon Valdez. Exxon Valdez. Oh, I forgot to. Well, I missed it, but I forgot to mention when Bam Bam died, everyone was all sad. Even though I forgot to say the Russians did a little farewell toast, saying in speaking the language to the little one, Forgot to mention that. But like I said, it is a sad scene. But anyway, and then back with what happens to the characters afterwards. Jim Krasinski's character Adam, he stays as a news anchor in Anchorage, Alaska. And with Drew Barrymore and her Greenpeace, people are, like I said, have joined up more, like 400%. And it shows what it ends with Nathan with his grandpa Malik, riding off with his tribe and saying that, to quote, thinking about what happened when we first saw the whales in that hole, and it's just, it keeps getting bigger and bigger until it let the whole world in. And then during the credits, you see like some of the repeats of some of the shots of what was happening in the film. There was even a part where the characters of Kelly and Colonel Boyer, it shows them getting married, but also shows like a real life photo of the couple married in real life. And also what happened with the characters of Riggle and the other guy who was selling the de-icers. They become celebrities in their town in Minnesota, and their product is a hit. So there's not much going into it. It's a very simple story. It's about saving the whales. What more can it be? It's like I said, save the whales. It's a very simple story. I do enjoy the film. The director, who I enjoyed from Follow That Bird, I think he did a good job directing the film. It's sad this film flopped. Probably because no one wants to see a sad story about saving the whales. Probably. But as for the cast, did work. They worked well. You got Drew Barrymore did good. Same with John Krasinski, Kristen Bell, Ted Danson. I thought he did good. Nice to see him in there. Oh, and Tim Blake Nelson. I forgot to mention Tim Blake Nelson was in this. Oh, from appearing in Scooby-Doo 2, Incredible Hulk, the 2015 Fantastic Four film. But he's been in many other films. Tim Blake Nelson. If you're looking him up, he's been in more films than that. Vinessa Shaw. I mentioned Kirsten Bell. Nice to see Stephen Root in there. Rob Riggle. Score by Cliff Edelman. Decent score. And it's on for about an hour and 47 minutes. Well paced. It did. I thought that for some parts it was like a little bit slow in certain spots though, but for the most part the pacing was decent. It's like in the middle there. For features, it has deleted scenes. The truth is stranger than fiction, and has a commentary with the director as well. But I think as for a family film, it's a good family film. Like this is right down here from Film Advisory Board, a perfect family adventure. And up here it says here that has one like the Heartland Truly Moving Picture Award right there. You can read it. And on the back here from Box Office, inspiring and heartwarming. Which I'll agree to. It is heartwarming. I would say that. A whale of a great tale. Of course, they use the pun. A whale of a great tale. But I do agree on the heartwarming part. It is heartwarming. But yeah, I enjoy Big Miracle. This is too bad the film flopped. Like I said, probably nobody wants to see a film about saving the whales. And back to eating my favorite candy, the gummy bears. Imported gummy bears. Sorry, there's a difference. But fun family. It's a fun family film, even though it has some of the drama to it, like the sad part where the baby dies. Sadly, it is a sad scene. But for the most part, it's a good family drama film with some comedic moments in there. But yeah, 2012. So it's already 5 years old already. Well, almost going on 6 now because we're almost at the end of 2017. But yeah, but I've been doing anniversaries films, like mostly from '87, lots of '87s and '97, a couple of 2002s, '92s, and I think 2007 as well. But one out of 2012 as well for 5 years. But yeah, anyone has not seen Big Miracle? Feel free to check it out. It's a good